Welcome back to another episode of Doodling Through Education. For my CC students, this is Cycle 1, Week 7. For everyone else, that just means that we are going to be talking about Hinduism and Buddhism in India today. Now, as Christians and followers of Christ, it is important to study what other people around the world believe. And in this way, we can become better witnesses for Christ. So that is one of the main reasons why we are studying these two beliefs today. Now, if you haven't already, go on and head on over to doodlingthrougheducation.com. There are some workbooks that have been designed to follow these videos there. And I just recently separated them into quarters. So if you're just jumping in now in week 7, you can just buy the second quarter. You don't have to buy the whole year's worth. So hopefully you will find that to be helpful, but I really think that your students will be able to grasp a greater understanding of these videos through working through those workbooks, and that's why they were designed. Now, without further ado, let's start doodling. As I said, as Christians, it's important to understand the history of other religions and what is being taught to people, because this helps us to be better witnesses for Christ and to love humanity the way Jesus loved humanity. So, in pondering those things, let's go ahead and jump into talking about Hinduism. About 94% of all of the people who practice Hinduism live in India. Now, this religion does not have a founder that historians can tell, and it has been hard to trace the origins and history of this belief. Hinduism actually doesn't even represent a single religion, but a compilation of many different ideas and traditions. People who believe in Hinduism can worship a vast variety of different gods and have many different symbols that they honor, as well as many different types of books that they see as holy. They also can celebrate different types of holidays and customs. Now, although it is debated, most historians believe that Hinduism started around the year 1500 BC, and its origins were found in the Indus River Valley. Now, Hinduism is known for something called the caste system. And in Hinduism, it is believed that the god Purusha is the one who gave the caste system to the people. The caste system separates people into a hierarchy of groups with 4 different main groups. The highest group of people and the most respected are the Brahmins, and these are mostly the priests. Next come the Kshatriyas, and these would be the warriors and people in government. Next are the Vaishyas. Now, the Vaishyas are considered to be the middle class, and this includes people that are the farmers or the tradesmen and merchants. And last, at the bottom, are the Shudras. The Shudras are the people who would be the laborers, peasants, and the unskilled type of workers. Now, there is an even lower caste outside of the 4 main groups of people, and these are called the untouchables. And this would be even below the lowest Shudras, and they are people that are on the outskirts of society that anyone within the caste system would not talk to or be associated with in any way. Another thing that Hinduism believes in is reincarnation. And this is the idea that after you die, you come back again. Now, in regards to the caste system, it's believed that Shudras were born into the lowest class because they committed bad deeds in one of their previous lives. And this is their punishment for those bad deeds. They also believe in something called karma. And this suggests that people who behave well could have good things happen to them. And also when they die and are reincarnated, they would be born into a higher caste system. So people in Hinduism are constantly trying to do good deeds to be able to perhaps be born into a higher caste system in their next life. During the Gupta Empire, from about 320 to 550 AD, many emperors used the beliefs of Hinduism to unify the people that they ruled. And they even would give land to Brahmins. And so in this way, these Gupta empires helped to grow the popularity of Hinduism in India. Now, let's move on and talk about Buddhism. The founder of Buddhism is known. His name is Siddhartha Gautama, and he was born in 563 BC in India. Gautama was born into a wealthy family, but rejected this life of riches and embraced this lifestyle that required extreme self-discipline and did not include partaking in the riches that were given to him. Gautama spent 49 days in meditation, and after he did this, he made an announcement to the public that he was able to achieve this. And at that point, he became the Buddha, or enlightened one. Now, after this announcement, he gained a lot of disciples who became monks underneath him and traveled with him throughout India, spreading all of his teachings. One of the main things about Buddhism is that it is an individual type religion, that everyone really has the responsibility to have their own happiness. But there are 4 main truths in Buddhism. Number 1, that there is suffering in life, but number 2, that the cause of this suffering is desiring things. And number 3, if you end this desire, then you end suffering. And number 4, that you need to practice this through your life, and this would end your suffering. So he presented what is called the Noble Eightfold Path. And this included right belief, right resolve, right speech, right conduct, right occupation, right effort, right mindfulness, and right meditation. Now, Buddhists also believed in reincarnation, but they believed that if you were able to follow this lifestyle, that eventually you would be liberated from reincarnation, and in that be liberated from suffering. Because if you are never born into another life, then that would end the suffering that life naturally has. Many followers of Buddhism practice what is called monasticism. Monasticism means that the individual leaves behind the world and devotes themselves completely to spiritual endeavors. And the people who follow this way of life are called monks. Now, something that separates Buddhism from Hinduism is that Buddhism really disregards the caste system. So in this regard, Buddhism became very popular among people in lower castes. Buddhism taught that where you were in the caste system was not a punishment for deeds committed in a past life. Another reason Buddhism became popular was women even had the opportunity to become a monk. So even though, as I said earlier, Buddhism was appealing to people in lower castes, the people of the Vaishya and Shudra classes had a really hard time following this Noble Eightfold path idea because they were working a lot of the time. They could not devote all of their time to these goals that were quite hard to attain. So, because of this, something called Mahayana Buddhism formed. And this is where it was taught that people could still obtain this enlightenment by performing the acts of their duties and their jobs and staying devoted to that. This was an alternative approach and was acceptable for this lower class to attain. And so in this way, this helped Buddhism to grow and spread. And that's all we have for today. Make sure you head on over to doodlingthrougheducation.com and grab those workbooks. There's 4 worksheets for the week this week. And one of the worksheets is comparing Buddhism and Hinduism and how they compare to one another, where they may cross in their ideas and where they are quite different. So that is your homework for this week. And on that note, remember to be kind, follow God's will, and take care. Bye.